So, thank you for singing that beautiful hymn for us. Those of you who So, this week, there was a big day, right? Did anyone go trick-or-treating? Yes? So much candy, all right. I hope you didn't eat all the candy in one day. No?
I sold it to my dad.
You sold your dad. Money? Oh, wow. I know one of my good friends' daughter, she exchanged her candy for a movie ticket. But money, well, that's something better. So, that's great. Well, so what is that day that we go trick-or-treating on? Who wants to? Yes? It was Monday. Yeah, and what's the name of the day? Oh, you're a step ahead of me. That's great. Bonus points to you. Yes. Halloween. Right, Halloween. Which, does anyone know what Halloween comes from? Halloween. Otis. Sleepy Hollow. Well, you had it right. You were a few steps ahead of me. All Saints Day, All Souls Day. Because Halloween, you might have heard of All Hallows, the Feast of All Hallows. That's where Halloween came from. Well, the All Hallowed, those are the all the saints. The hallowed, the saints. And the hallowed comes from the word holy. That's what hallowed means, the holy ones. And so a saint is someone who is considered a holy one. A holy one. And for those of you who follow along the service, we come to a part of the Eucharistic prayer where it says, holy, holy, holy. So that's called the Sanctus, right? Which comes from the Greek of the Hagios. Well, and so Hagios means not exact, well, it means holy, right? That's how we translate it. But it means something else. It means something different. Something set apart. Something other. So, what does that mean to be holy? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're a person who does only good things in the world, right? Which we think of the saints, right? Who named some saints for me? Who's some saints you've heard of, Bryce? Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, a great saint. Yes. So good, yes. And Otis, you got one. Oh, what about the one we remembered last time we had this? Vivian? Well, Easter Bunny is very good, yes. Maybe not a saint in church, but yes, right. St. Francis, right. That's true. Last time we had this children's sermon, we talked about St. Francis. So, what is St. Nicholas and St. Francis known for? Otis?
St. Nicholas is known for having the spirit of Christmas.
The spirit of Christmas, he gave gifts to children. Nicholas, who's the bishop of Myrna, he gave gifts to all the kids of his town. Maybe some of whom their parents couldn't afford gifts, right? So he gave gifts to everyone. So that's what St. Nicholas is known for. And St. Francis, if you remember we talked about, is known for a lot of things, especially for his love of, you want to remember? Yes. Animals. That's right, his love of animals. So that's why he had a pet blessing on St. Francis Day, St. Francis Sunday. So the saints, we remember in the church, are people who did really good things. They lived very holy lives, lives that were set apart in some way, different in some way. But guess what? The saints are not just those famous people who were like really, really good people, right? Now, the saints also refer to everyone in the church. Everyone. That's right. Yeah. And guess what? You see all those pictures behind me? Take a look. Over here and over here. These are photos of people's loved ones here in the church who passed away. And so this is a reminder to us that these dear departed loved ones are not forever gone. They're still with us.
Yes, inside of us.
Inside of us, that's right. They're in our hearts. They live in our hearts, and they live with God, in God's realm, God's reign, God's kingdom. And they are reminders to us, these photos, that there is this thing called the communion of saints, in which people from every time and place, everywhere, are with God. They are the people of God. They are the holy ones. And they're not just the people who are especially heroic, people like in that hymn. One was a doctor, and one was a queen, and one was a shepherdess on the green. That's St. Luke, the evangelist, and Margaret of Scotland, who was a great benevolent queen, and Joan of Arc, who was a really brave young woman. But they're not just those heroes. They're also everyone, everyday people, like these loved ones, who probably some of these were very heroic people. But we don't have to do really heroic, brave things to be heroic. Maybe we all will. Some heroic things are very small things, like being kind to someone. That's heroic. But we are all saints. We're all holy because we are all children of God. Amen. Amen. That's right. That is how we are set apart, right? That is what is something different. Not because we here in the church are better than anyone else out there, but because we're reminded that we are God's children, just as everyone in the world is God's child. But that's what the church is about. It's about teaching people that we're all God's children. And so that is what we're doing today in baptism. We're about to baptize little Jack here in a few minutes. And that is a way of saying, Jack, you are set apart. You are one of the holy ones because you are a child of God. And so as a child of God, Jack is then called to live out his baptism as a person who shares the light of Christ with the world. Because that's what the saints are. We talk about the saints in light. They're people who show us God's light and God's love. Sometimes that's through doing great heroic things, but sometimes it's through doing small acts of kindness. And it's about how we look at other people. It's not always about what we do, but how we see things. It's about seeing the whole world as God's creation, seeing everyone here as God's children, seeing the animals as God's beloved creation too. And seeing that and knowing that everyone is special, everyone is set apart, everyone is different and unique because they are a child of God, because they are God's creation. And that gift of seeing the world in a new way, that's what it means to be a saint. A saint is someone who's called to a special way of seeing the world as full of God's love. So when we sing a song of the saints of God, we're singing about how to see everyone as a child of God and how to live life filled with that light and love. Thank you guys for listening so well and for participating in the conversation. I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate this time we had to talk about saints. Yeah. Anytime, really. Not just people who are the famous heroes of old, but also people who are with us today, people who have departed this life, but who are still with us in our hearts and with God, and all of us here, folk like me, as the song says, and like you, all of us.